amidst the snow-capped mountains of Colorado. A sense of peace and serenity fills the brisk air of the Rockies. Beautiful wildlife roams these lands undisturbed until it was totally ruined by the crack of 30-06 rifle rounds.
Since the dawn of mankind, ever since we were able to walk on two legs, humans have been hurling projectiles at each other from sharpened sticks to stones. Sometimes these stones even reached speeds of upwards of 1,200 feet per second. And immediately after that, we developed the M1 Garand. Welcome everybody to another Triple J Armory video. This one excites me to no end because we are going to talk about the M1 Garand, which is my favorite rifle of all time. I f***ing love this rifle. We've got Corey with us, and Corey, you brought this out. This is part of your own collection. I cannot thank you enough for bringing this thing out. I just want to know more about this gun. I'm not an expert, but I've watched every World War II movie. I've played every World War II game. We've all played Hell Let Loose and gotten PTSD, right? This particular gun, it's so cute and cuddly. I just want to know more about it. Could you take me through muzzle to ass on this iconic weapon?
Well, absolutely. Starting up here at the muzzle, we've got this weird little tube down here. A lot of people don't really understand what that's for. This is actually a piston-driven system. This tube houses the front end of the piston. You can actually see it just down under the wood right in here.
So this thing's piston driven, just like an AK-47?
Pretty close. Actually, Mikhail Kalashnikov himself said that this rifle inspired the piston system of the AK.
So if you like AK-47s, nobody can give you shit about it being a Russian design anymore, because it's actually based off of literally the bald eagle of a rifle. When I look at this thing, there's really nothing more American than an M1 Garand. I mean, this thing literally, it almost looks like an American flag. The profile of it, the sound of it, the ping, everything about it, it's like the 4th of July every time you shoot this thing.
Oh my God, you look like the 4th of July. It makes me want a hot dog real bad.
Absolutely, in my opinion, this is America's rifle. According to General George Patton himself, the greatest battle implement ever devised.
God damn right it is. Corey, you gotta tell me what this little thing is. I know it's not a sling mount because the sling is mounted back here, so why is that there?
So most people do think that is a sling mount, and you see a lot of people try to put their sling up through there, which looks pretty stupid, honestly. This is actually a stacking swivel. So back in the day, if you had 3 of these, you could set it up just like a teepee to keep your muzzles out of the mud.
And cleaning this gun, easy, difficult?
It takes some time, but I wouldn't say it's super difficult.
Your particular M1 is a very pretty wood on here, so I really like this. I've seen some with a lighter tone on the stock, and I really just don't like it as much. In all the movies, they look like this. Is that what made you want this one?
Well, yes, that drew me to this one quite a lot, actually. There is a reason for why a lot of times you'll see the darker wood versus the lighter wood on these rifles. Now, leaving the factory, it would have looked like this. A lot darker wood, fresh walnut finish, and a lot of the ones that you see with more of an orange or a blonde type of wood are actually wearing a replacement stock. Most of the replacement stocks made in between World War II and Korea were actually made out of birch, not walnut.
Okay, I get a little bit of validation from that because I've always looked at these on the shelves and, you know, I could never really afford one, but the ones with the darker wood always caught my eye because they look more authentic, and it's nice to know that they are more authentic with the darker wood, so that's cool. This gun is fed by this large torpedo. Obviously, we have to feed this rifle, and we have the iconic clip, not magazine, that's got 8 30-06 rounds in it. And the 30-06 round is a devastating round. It's slinging these 150 grain projectiles out pretty quickly, and it does a lot of damage.
That it does. There's a reason why the military used it for as long as it did, and why it's still a very popular round with deer hunters today.
Yeah, I would be terrified of this. So Corey, what would you say the average engagement distance is in World War II with something like the M1 Garand?
Well, I imagine it'd be about 100, 200 yards.
Well, about 100 yards that way, we got a couple 2-liter bottles, and I yelled thunder.
Flash! Thunder!
Did you hear anything back?
No, I heard nothing.
Yeah, we didn't hear flash, so we're gonna have to take care of business. Well, it's dead. I nicked him. Even a glancing blow with something like the 30-06 is basically as much damage as a nuclear warhead. Damn! Okay, I just got back from running up that hill again to reset up our camera to show how accurate we are, or lack thereof for me. I missed, I kind of sucked. Corey, you're gonna have to show us how it's done. There's another target couple more yards farther away than the ones that I just barely hit. So I need you to show me how it's done.
Well, I'll see what I can do. Got him. That was pretty good. Starting to really understand what it felt like in Bastogne.
You were telling us earlier though that this might not have been the round that was used. There was another one in contention.
It very nearly wasn't. Originally, when this gun was designed, it was chambered in a round known as the 276 Pedersen. That didn't last for very long. Now, the advantage to the 276 though, being you get 10 rounds instead of 8.
That's funny to me because not too long after this, we actually ditched the larger round and went to a smaller one for higher capacity, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, not sure why we ever changed. I know we went through a couple of different conflicts where we decided more ammo was better, but after shooting this rifle, everybody was wrong. The M1 Garand is all we needed. Isn't there a pretty awesome way to carry this ammo on the gun as well?
There is, actually. You see it in a lot of movies and video games sometimes. You just take the clip, thread it right through the middle, and it'll sit just like that on your sling.
There is literally no need for a plate carrier, so if you're running around with a plate carrier, that's stupid. All you need is this. This was my first time getting to shoot my dream rifle, so I have to thank you again for giving me that opportunity. But shooting this gun, I was expecting way more recoil, and it really wasn't that bad. I mean, it does, the muzzle rises a little bit and it knocks you back a little bit. It's a soft push, it's not really harsh. I really enjoyed it. I had a smile on my face the entire time. How often do you take this thing out and shoot it?
Not enough. Not enough. I really would. If the ammo was cheaper, I'd be shooting this thing every day if I could. The gun really does have a way of almost bringing you back to 1944 when you pull the trigger on it.
Absolutely. This is straight up a time machine. And so much so, this has matching serial numbers, right?
That is correct. This is a all parts correct, all matching rifle, even down to the sling and the bayonet, which is over there. The bayonet.
Could you show me how to put this on?
Of course. We have our bayonet lug sitting right here under the gas cylinder.
And that just slides right in there?
Just like that.
Ooh,
and that's
a nice
it.
noise. That is a nice noise. That's the first time I've ever done that. That's like slick.
It's satisfying.
That makes does this button release it?
Yeah, you just push the button and pull it right off.
Oh man, it looks way cooler with that on there.
Right?
Come on, that is sick. That is the coolest looking weapon I've ever seen in my life.
That's a battle rifle.
What year is this one?
This is a 1954 Harrington and Richardson. This gun was made just a little bit too late for Korea, but more than likely served with either one of our foreign allies or perhaps even the National Guard during Vietnam.
And on the back, the buttstock, there's that little door. What is that little door for? I think we've all seen this, and I'm sure you've all wondered what that is.
Back in the day, before they had things like Molly and plate carriers, this is where you store your cleaning kit.
Oh.
And your Skittles, of course.
I'd like to know a little bit more about you, Corey, because it's interesting. We got a hold of you through one of the people that work at Triple J Armory, and you were attending, or you go around sort of the Denver area and you like to teach people about these rifles. I was surprised to see how young you are. And I'm actually really happy to see that. And I kind of want to know what even got you into these types of rifles.
Well, that is true. I have been traveling around the Denver area recently, and given a few talks to people about the history of these guns and why they're best not ignored or left on a shelf somewhere. What really got me into it originally was just watching the old war movies with my grandpa and seeing things like the M1 on the TV or a K98 or anything from that era, really, and thinking, I'd kind of like to have my hands on one of those at some point, and next thing you know, here I am.
It's funny how movies have such an influence on us. I mean, no doubt, if you're watching this at home, you've either seen this gun in a video game or Saving Private Ryan or Band of Brothers or one of the earlier Call of Duties, Battlefield or something like that. And it's influenced all of us on a screen of some kind in one way or another. But I personally, I never want to let go of this type of history because, you know, this rifle is half the reason we get to stand here and make a video like this today. We have lots of comforts today, and we have a lot of people to thank for that. And it's good to connect to that kind of history. So I hope more young people get into this type of thing and start collecting older firearms, because there's an older generation that did that before us. And I'm worried that people like you and me, our age, aren't quite as interested. But when you get behind the trigger of one of these rifles, it's actually way more fun than you think. Anybody can go buy an AR-15. Anybody can go shoot an AR-15 and get good with it. And I recommend that. But it's just as cool to get good and have a lot of knowledge behind a historical firearm like this, or even older still, like a muzzleloader even. There is a certain sense of satisfaction and pride in being proficient with a rifle like this. When I hit a target with this thing at something like 100 yards, that was a great feeling. You know, certainly one of my better days thus far being alive. So definitely better than throwing a rock or a sharpened stick, but still a really amazing piece of history. And I really appreciate you bringing this out here. It definitely made my day, and I really just want more people to experience this. So.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more.
One more thing I wanted to talk about this rifle, couldn't leave it out. Everybody wants to know about the trigger. What is it like to pull the trigger on an M1 Garand? I can say it is splendid.
Phenomenal trigger, and the design of it has really stood the test of time, and is the exact same trigger used in the M14 M1A.
Holy shit.
That just came right over here, didn't it?
This is a perfect moment to tell you why gun safety is important. We are out here in a public area. We just moved positions, but there's some people that don't pay attention to their surroundings and just shoot willy-nilly. So we almost got hit by a ricochet a second ago, so we moved, and now we're in a different spot, and we're gonna continue talking about the M1 Garand, specifically the trigger mechanism on this rifle. Everybody wants to know about the trigger, and I, for one, was really excited to feel what it was like, and it's pleasantly crisp and smooth, and really just a joy to shoot.
It's a really good trigger, and the design is really carried over and still standing the test of time today in the M14 and M1A series of rifles.
And those are still used, right?
They are. They're still used somewhat sparingly now by the military.
Yeah, but that is pretty amazing that the same trigger design still being used today in our military. So obviously the best gun ever made. If you want a good rifle, you should go get an M1 Garand. We've proven this already. There's no reason to think of any other gun. In fact, you don't even need a handgun. You can just use this. Obviously for close quarter stuff, you've got the bayonet. It's amazing. I don't see any reason to argue me at all. And if you think you have anything against me, you could say it in the comments about this rifle, but it's the best thing to ever been made. Patent said it, okay? All right, well, Corey, thank you again for bringing this rifle out. Again, I said that this was my favorite rifle ever. I meant that. This is my first time ever shooting one. I've been smiling this entire time because it was really amazing. I said amazing. All the Americans do is say amazing.
My evening's going amazing because I have a rose.
But that's really the only word that comes to mind when shooting this thing. It just puts a smile on your face. I highly recommend, if you can go out and shoot an M1 Garand, or you have the ability to do so, to do it. It will change your life. Maybe you'll become more in tune with historical firearms, or maybe you'll just have a really good time. And I really hope you guys do that. Thank you for watching this video. If you did, if you watched this far, please comment down below. My nose is running and it ruined this entire take. There's a huge drip of snot going down. Go ahead and leave a comment down below what your favorite historical firearm is, and maybe we'll get to do a video on that in the future as well, because Corey has more than just this M1 Garand. Thank you again, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. nice to know that that's actually true. So this is more of a true to historical accuracy style rifle. So, because it f***ing is, Mitch. It's like all serial matching, you fucking idiot. God